Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may find yourself in the beautiful world of motorcycling. Today I'm going to be talking about, is going to the track really worth it? There are so many angles to take this from, because I feel like a lot of people make excuses to not go to the track, right? And I want to start this video off by saying, if you're the type of rider that's riding very, very dangerously on the public road, and your excuse is that the track is too expensive, I really don't like that frame of reference and thought, mostly because it doesn't make any sense, right? Riding that dangerously on road is really just inviting disaster, and it's going to be much more expensive if you crash on the street and injure somebody else or injure yourself or bust up your motorcycle than it would be if you did it in a controlled and safe environment. So from that perspective, I think going on track is really worth it. I also think it's really worth it if you live in a place that doesn't offer a whole lot of twisty road riding. Now, riding canyons and twisty roads and mountain roads is very different than riding on track. You are, just kind of cruising along. You can ride a little aggressively, but you're never going to explore the limits like you can on track, because it's just simply not wide enough and fast enough, and you just can't ride like that on the road. And for those of you who are maybe new to the channel, I've got lots of track day and racing experience. I've done over 100 track days. I've put 30-something motorcycles on track at 12 different tracks around the world. I've got club racing experience, so I'd like to think I know a little bit more than most when it comes to this topic. And I think that the reason that people maybe would need to go to the track more often than not if they don't have a cool place to ride is that you can't really get those demons out anywhere else, man. I feel kind of bad because, I have spoken to people on Discord and I've answered some people's questions and stuff where they're like, man, there's just like no good riding where I live. What am I supposed to do? And going to the track is a great way to get some of those feelings out. So I think from that perspective, it really is worth it. Again, if you have some awesome mountain roads and canyons that you run all the time, that's a totally different story. You may not feel quite the itch to carve up corners as you would if you lived in somewhere like Nebraska or something like that, or here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where I now find myself. So yeah, I think that is certainly a reason that it could be worth it as well. And here's the thing, I totally understand that riding on track isn't for everybody. Not everybody is looking to challenge themselves like that on a motorcycle. For some people, it's just about enjoying the ride, and it's just about having a nice time on your motorcycle. They're not looking to carve up corners and challenge themselves like that. But I would say if you are that type of rider where you think, man, I don't really need to, go ham at a racetrack to feel like I'm riding my motorcycle, I would say try at least one track day just so you can build up your skill sets a little bit more. Because one of the coolest things that happens when you go on track is you realize that you're able to come back to the street and operate in a much more chilled out way. You can approach riding from a way more relaxed perspective if you have those track day skills and ability, right? If you are coming at riding a motorcycle and you're familiar with riding at a pace on a track, when you go out on the street, everything's going to feel calm, it's going to feel nice, it's going to feel simple, and that's a great place to be. That's a great place to be operating well within your skill sets, even when the going gets a little bit quicker. But if you feel satisfied in, riding your motorcycle in somewhat challenging, twisty conditions on canyons and, different roads like that, then I would say, keep doing that, right? Like, do the type of riding that you feel best with, right? You don't have to go out and tackle all the craziest riding that you can just because, you have to feel like you feel like you need to do that with your motorcycle. There's really no need to do that with your motorcycle necessarily. I know plenty of adventure riders and dirt riders that really have no interest in going on track, and that's totally cool. You do not need to go on track. But I would say that twisty roads are not necessarily a substitute for track day riding. And I see a lot of these guys in California specifically because there's just like the most wonderful twisty canyon scenic roads that people can ride out there. And, I see it a lot where people ride those roads, and, it's I think it's pretty crazy to ride roads like that fast, but, to each their own. And I also think that one of the deterrents people have for track days is unfortunately how expensive they are and how far away some tracks are. You know, I've unfortunately heard from people who are riding who say, man, like, I'd love to go do more track days, but the track is freaking 4 hours from where I live. And I'm like, well, I completely get that, you know? That's at that point not really feasible to do in a day and back, right? Like, you're not really going to ride, you know, out to the track for 4 hours, ride all day at the track, and then ride 4 hours back to your house. That's pretty insane. I wouldn't really recommend anybody do that. And then at that point, you're talking about getting a hotel and staying there and all that stuff. And so it really just may not be worth it necessarily at that point. Or if it is, it's a once in a while, occasional type of thing. But it is interesting for me personally, having moved back here to DFW, where there is a very much lack of, you know, twisty, fun kind of roads. There's no elevation here. It's flat as a pancake. And that's very different from Austin, where I used to live. You know, I'm starting to feel that itch a whole lot more, where I'm like, man, I miss having a beautiful set of twisty roads to carve up, because it does give you a little bit of that vibe and flavor, and you're like, oh yeah, like I miss, you know, riding in that way. And you just, you know, unfortunately, motorcycling to me is about taking corners. Like, I think riding straight is so boring, especially if there's no scenery. I wouldn't mind riding straight if there's cool rolling hills or mountains or all type of stuff, but if there's nothing like that, well, then it's like, might as well just take a car at that point. You guys probably feel that I'm being a little exaggerating with that, but I really do feel that way. It's a little sad. I think an important aspect about riding on track is growing your skill sets. You ask any street rider who's been riding on street for a long time, like I said, there's really, at some point, you kind of cap out the ability to ride on street quickly without being insane, and then at that point it's just about bravery, not necessarily about the ability of the rider to do, you know, fantastic things on their motorcycle, right? It's much more about, oh, who's willing to take as much risk. I think that if you don't go on track, if you are a sport rider, you will eventually stagnate in your abilities, and you will not realize that you're missing out on quite a bit of, you know, the performance riding aspect of motorcycling. And I see this a lot with you know, riders who go on the street a lot and think that they're fast, because they have no real timed benchmark for their own speed. A lot of these riders end up thinking that they're like super fast and super badass and super amazing, because they can, you know, drag a knee around their favorite corner on their twisty road. And then they go on track and they realize, oh wow, there is like a whole other level to this. There is a whole other level to this riding a motorcycle fast thing. And it happens to all of us, it happens to the best of us, and it's a great opportunity to learn and to grow, because again, if you don't ever compare yourself to other people on a racetrack in a timed way, you'll never understand how your skill sets are a little stagnant, right? So guys, I do encourage you to head out on the track, have some fun, learn while you're out there. I know that for some of you it may not be feasible, and then when I think that if you do live in a place where it's like too far away or too crazy to go out on track, I think at that point you could maybe look at a different avenue for motorcycling and really get yourself, you know, riding in a way that's going to be more fun, or be able to adapt to your skill sets or evolve a little bit, because, you know, if you don't get the chance to do that, you will just end up like the guy who's had a Harley for 20 years and doesn't really know how to ride it that great. And you don't want to end up that guy, right? Like, you're watching Yami Noob. I'd like to believe that you want to get out there and have some fun on your bike and really, you know, advance yourself. So let me know in the comments what you think down below about, is riding on track really worth it? Have you been on track? Did you appreciate it? If so, why? If not, let me know as well too. And remember, this Kawasaki Ninja 500 is a giveaway bike on yammynoob.co. Make sure you get signed up to win over on the website. Become a member, join the Discord. It's the best way to get started with everything we got going on over here. I truly do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch today's video. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.
If only there was a way for you to stop being a bikeless bro. I'm so tired of hearing you guys talk about you don't have a motorcycle when I'm giving this one away for free. I've given away 54 motorcycles on this channel. Go to yamanube.co while you're waiting for this next video to queue up and become a member and sign up to win this thing. You're not gonna regret it. I guarantee it.